Hi guys, welcome to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode. In this episode, we are going to be discussing on some interesting updates. We start with Barcelona team news. We're going to be discussing on our team news ahead of the UEFA Europa League playoff first leg versus Manchester United. Then to conclude this episode, talking about ANSU FATI as his agent Josh Mendes postpones ANSU FATI future decision until the end of the season. We're also going to be discussing on that. So guys, before we get right into it, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. If you're just coming across the channel for the very first time, you are highly welcomed. Consider liking the video and please watch right up to the very end. After securing a crucial 1-0 victory over Villarreal away at the Estadio de Ceramica in La Liga, Barcelona will now shift their focus towards UEFA Europa League as they get set to take on Manchester United in the first leg of the playoff round. Barca dropped down to the Europa League for a second season in a row after finishing third in the Champions League group behind Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. And they have been drawn against Erik ten Hag's informed Manchester United sides, who finished second in their Europa League group, with a spot in the round of 16 now on the line. The first leg of the playoffs will be played this Thursday, February 16, at Spotify Camp Nou, before the two teams will duel at Old Trafford next week. Heading to Thursday's clash, Barcelona are in a stunning 16-game unbeaten streak across all competitions and have won each of the last 11 games. But Manchester United have been performing quite well of late and will pose a serious test to Xavi and Mendes' sides. So talking about our team news, given the fact that the second leg will be played away from home, Barca will be aiming to take a big step towards a spot in the round of 16 with a victory at the Spotify Camp Nou this week. However, Xavi will have to make do without two of his most important players against Manchester United. Ousmane Dembele is out with a thigh injury and is sustaining the 1-0 victory over Girona in La Liga 2 weeks ago. Then the Frenchman is expected to be out for 5 weeks and has already missed 3 games against Real Betis, Sevilla and Villarreal. And he will be unavailable for both legs against Manchester United, with the expectations being that Dembele could return to the La Liga El Clasico against Real Madrid on March 19. Another player that Xavi will have to cope without is captain and midfield general Sergio Busquets. The 34-year-old veteran suffered an ankle injury in the league game against Sevilla last Sunday after coming together with Youssef En-Nesyri. While the possibility of him taking painkiller injections and featuring against United was considered an option, the Catalans have decided not to take that risk, so Busquets is definitely ruled out for the clash at the Camp Nou, but could return to Old Trafford. Apart from those two players, Barcelona do not have any injury-enforced absentees, and there are no footballers missing through suspension as well. What a game we have ahead of us. 2 days to go on Thursday night in what will be a mouth-watering encounter against Old Trafford. I think two teams that are in a similar position, under very good managers, I think teams who are under transition and they're doing quite well. That clash will look for me more than a Europa League clash, right? It's going to look like a Champions League clash because those are guys who are doing quite well. You know, teams in form. It's a game that you can't tell what will happen because they're in great form right now. Barca have been unbeaten in 16 games, and of course heading into a Manchester United side that are also unbeaten for a very long time with some good winning streak as well. So I think those two teams are in great form, and Xavi himself said in his press conference that would be a very tricky game. Erik ten Hag is doing a good job at Old Trafford, and definitely it will be a tie that no one can predict what happens. So I think whoever wins that tie definitely will be considered the favorites to go as far as winning the Europa League. There's no question about that if their form continues to prevail. So let's see how it goes. The first leg will be at Old Trafford, would be at the Camp Nou. Second leg will be at Old Trafford next week. So I think Xavi needs to be very careful because having the first leg in your stadium is always a very, very difficult thing. You know, had it been we were starting our first leg at Old Trafford, then it could have been far better. But now we have to really make sure that playing against United at our stadium, we need to really go all out there to win them. Not just winning them, try as much as possible to keep a clean sheet. Even though we know the away goal rule is no more that relevant again in the UEFA rules, but we just need to have a very good, convincing victory, knowing fully well that going to their stadium, which will be so difficult, we'll also have to ensure that no, our place will have a chance somehow to cross to the next stage. But that will be a very tricky game, very tricky, difficult to predict. So let's see how it goes on Thursday. It will be definitely a mouth-watering encounter for both teams. Then on to the next story of discussion. ANSU FATI is not getting minutes, and right now he is not important for the club. According to reports, Xavi Mendes showed his anger after rumors over the future of ANSU FATI. But the reality is that the players' people are a bit worried about the lack of game time he is suffering now. However, his agent Josh Mendes has only limited himself to mentioning the interest of several European teams in the striker and has frozen the whole issue until the end of this season so as not to interfere with the team's objectives, and is convinced that Ansu's situation could turn around. Mendes, who has a great relationship with President Joan Laporta, told the sports department that there were clubs in the position to present very interesting offers for Ansu, and Manchester United would be one of them. Offers that, in the event that the player was not a keen man for the team, would be a financial boost for the club. But it did not go any further. The two parties agreed to analyze the matter at the end of the season when the conclusions about the Ansu's participation will be that much clearer. This is not the first meeting between Mendes and Ansu's direct entourage and Barca to discuss his lack of playing time. They consider that the player is fully recovered after injury and that he needs more participation to get more playing time. But the reality is different, and the striker has become the last attacking option in the rotation along with Ferran Torres. He is not a starter, and this is noticeable in his performance due to the lack of security in his actions on the pitch. It is likely that in the coming weeks, Ansu will have more visibility, especially in home games, and the challenge for the player will be to show that his performance is improving. Both Barca, the player, and his entourage are keen for everything to go in the right direction and for him to explode again. If not, Mendes will offer solutions, and it will be both Barca and the player who will have to make a decision. At Barca, it is scary to talk about a possible exit, and Ansu still wants to succeed at the club. Although everything will depend on the minutes he gets, Mendes has not and will not force anything. He has not. He has only received interest and he has passed it on, as he has done with other players. Although he knows that Ansu is a special case, the situation is ongoing and changeable too. So, guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.